We are here in IFA Berlin 2012, hosted in higher booth for the second roundtable. Our guest is again Mr. Marco Carrucciu, consultant for web marketing for important brands such as Barilla, Ferrari, Maserati, of which he has been a leading manager, and Riccardo Facci, CEO of Facci Pollini, important advertising agency in Italy. We are talking about how the internet is influencing the relationship between the corporation and the end consumers. And first of all, I would like to ask you, Marco, is this relationship different according to different products? For example, you have been consultant to Barilla and to Ferrari, Maserati. One is a fast-moving consumer goods, the pasta. The other one is a special good, and they're quite different. So, what is the difference in terms of the relationship between the corporation and the end user in the internet?
The main difference is the product life cycle and the usage you do of the products usually. So when you buy a car or when you buy a consumer appliance, you're bringing in your house, in your garage, in your life, you're bringing something that is going to be a stable part of your life and of your daily life. So you're going to go to work with your car, you're going to go to visit friends on vacation, holiday. So that's true for high-end brand, but it's also true for all the brands in the automotive business. The life cycle of the product is not that long, usually from 3 to 5 years for most of the products. And then there's a change. So you have about 3 years to build a very strong and long-time relationship and get fidelization and loyalty. The loyalty of the brand is exclusively based on the product. That's true also for the consumer appliances. While in the fast-moving consumer goods, there's a level of loyalty which is lower. It's a loyalty that is completely based on the brand, and many companies, many brands are continuously changing the product, so they don't allow to create a loyalty only on the product. And also, being the modern distribution a very strong part in the selling of consumer goods, it's very good. It's very difficult to interact with consumer in the consumer good sector. While consumer appliances and cars, they have the after-sales process of relationship, which is the most important part of the relationship. Is just after the purchase and the customer life cycle is the best part. When you buy the product, is the first time you have it in your hands. From there in advance, there is where you build the loyalty.
Riccardo, a recent Harvard Business Review article said that marketing is dead, meaning traditional marketing is dead. You are the CEO of an advertising agency in Italy, an important advertising agency. What do you think about it?
Well, I think that it's not completely true. Depends of the market, depends of the products, depends of the positioning, and depend of the country. And I think that there is, normally, you need a mix of traditional advertising, marketing, and new media and social, etc. And I think that if you need awareness, you also have to need traditional media, because if you want a fast growing of your brand reputation and your brand awareness, you need absolutely to use traditional media, because the impact and the speed of this media is still powerful.
From your answers, I have the idea now that maybe traditional marketing, traditional advertising works very well for fast-moving consumer goods like potato chips, soft drinks, the goods that you find in the supermarket. But when you have to buy perhaps a washing machine or a refrigerator or a car, then you want to get information before actually going to the shop, so you get a lot of information from the internet. Is this something that you can recognize in your experience and in your experience?
I think you are right, but it depends also about the age of your consumers. For example, you can say car. Which kind of car? If you sell car of more of 100,000 euros, maybe your consumers are going to the showroom and they want to speak with someone and ask every detail of the car. If you're speaking about a young car, sport car for young people, you are completely right. Depends. There is a lot of details that you have to understand to answer to this question, I think.
Marco, in your experience, you work for car industry.
Yeah, Riccardo said a very interesting thing, which is the media mix you have to use. Depending on the customer life cycle, so depending on which phase of the relationship with prospect or customers you are, you have a different set of media you can use. If your main goal is to build exposure, then awareness, then you will probably have to maximize your talk, your way of talking. So traditional media are still very important in this picture. The more you go closer to the customers, so when they start doing research on the internet, for example, now there is a piece where internet is getting very important. But when they go close to the negotiation phase and the purchase of it, especially in certain products, they want to touch it, they want to see it. What happens sometimes is that they go into stores, and that it's a very important trend worldwide. Sometimes they tend to go to stores, check the product in stores,
Buy on the internet.
go back home and see and have and take the decision based on the price. This depends on the country. Not all the countries are the same, and depends also on the capability of the companies of building a relationship of
This
trust.
can create, of course, conflicts between corporations and their retail channels.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's the point.
There are several companies, for example, that are moving to e-commerce where there's a hybrid model, where they actually sell on the internet, but the retailer is a very strong part of this sale. For example, how many companies now are selling products and you can online, and then you can gather your product and take it into the store. So
It's a mixed.
We will see a lot of these hybrid situations around. I mean, the first one was Amazon and Borders. You could buy a product online on Amazon and get it back to the store, Borders, which was a traditional store like Barnes and Nobles or stores like that. So there was a very strong relationship between the online and the offline. That is a model that I believe is going to work a lot.
Let me ask a question, because we are here in Hire booth and we have just heard a few minutes ago René Umbertin, the CEO of Hire in Europe, to talk about their strategies in the internet. I would like to know from your experience, Marco and Riccardo, what is your impression?
The fact of listening to customers and being able to reinforce the relationship, involving innovation on the products and assistance to customers with who wants to have more information or on the product is the leading strategy right now on the internet. So it's very important to do that. It's also important to involve the whole company in this process. Having agencies that can understand the company, the process of the company. The most important part of the job is to bring new culture in the company. Most of the companies are not ready inside to be on the internet and to face these issues. So, and they resort too much to agencies to do the job. Agencies should be a very integrated part of the company.
One of the things that we said before is that, I mean, if you do a promise on the internet, then you have to stick to this promise, and that's quite difficult, especially when you have products that require a lot of after-sales service. So I mean, how was this dealt in your past experience, and how do you see this to be dealt in higher?
This is a perfect example for Maserati. Maserati started with with a bad reputation that was left by previous owners of the company in the 70s and in the 80s. It's not something that you build in one day, but you need to stick to it. Keep the promise day by day. Every day your behavior and the way you behave should show to customers that you're keeping the promise. So probably not all the products are going to be great, not all the products are going to be perfect, but day by day you need to improve. And if customers see that, they will love it, and they will give you awards for that. So it's not something. Sometimes company would like to have a very quick solution to the problem, while sometimes the solution is a long path of behavior.
One last question for both of you. We have discussed a lot about the relationship between customers and the corporation. Customers want to be involved with the corporation, but what I exactly would like to ask you is whether they want to be just involved and to some extent associated to a brand, whether they want the products to better suit their needs, whether they want to communicate their values to the corporation to make sure that the corporation share their own values. So where is exactly the interaction between the end user and the corporation? At which level?
Most of the customers, in my experience, when they get in touch with the company, there's something related to the product, like problems or troubles, assistance they need. It's mostly related to the customer care side. And that is often a one-time relationship. If you're very good on that, probably they will be loyal to the brand anyway, but these are not customers that are going to talk often to the company. There's a group of people, and especially the blue generation is growing a lot on this side, and growing in numbers. There's a group of people, especially those that are on the internet, that realize they can do actually something. They can actually be an active part of the process of building a product, and they enjoy a lot that. These are going to become not loyal customers. These are going to be ambassadors of the brand. And is where a lot of companies are failing. I guess Haier is on the right path on that. Still need a lot to work, especially in certain countries like Europe, where it is still a young brand. But it's a very important part of the relationship.
But what René said before is that a young brand try to involve young consumers, so it might be a good thing to be a young brand actually, rather than being perceived as an old and well-established brand.
The young generation are not only digital native, they are environmental native. I mean, when I grew up, there were no talkings about environmental problems. Now my kids are growing up knowing that they have to be very careful with the usage of water, that you need to be very careful when you buy consumer appliances, when you buy a car. So the new generations are really blue generation. They are native with their environmental problems, with lots of technological discoveries.
Riccardo?
I think that Marco said they want to be ambassador of a brand. I think that is right if the brand is an ambassador very strongly of a value. The first thing is the value. If there is a brand that is really recognized like an ambassador of that value, people want to become. When you said why people want to be involved, depends. Sometimes they want to be involved because they are looking for something that make their life better and nothing more. Sometimes there is some brands that are so full of values that they want to be involved because they want to participate to this community. It's a different. Normally, they are just communicate with the company because you have a problem or you are looking for. This is normally what you find around the web. Sometimes you find people that want to be to feel a part of this community. They have this brand that is like a flag.
Okay.
It's different. It's two different.
I think that's interesting because what you're saying is that the brand is not a name. It's basically a way to convey some values. So a brand is a set of values. If you're able to establish the relationship, for example, between a higher brand and the environmental issues and the design issues, which are the values that the blue generation is looking for, then you are on the good way to make a big success.
Become a sort of an icon, not a brand, an icon. And people, you know, it's like to be in a place with a lot of people. If you want to recognize a group, you have to put a sign or a flag. We are here. Come here if you are in this community. This is like an icon, a flag, and people that share these values want to go there and are happy to have this brand on the T-shirt. It's very difficult to go to this, but it's the best you can do in the market. But the value that you, the value that is inside your brand have to be real value.
That's what we said before about being sincere, not cheating, because I don't think you have a chance to live. If you cheat the consumers in the internet era, you're going to be dead in less than a few months.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the...
There's many examples about it.
That's the final message that I want to give, that companies that are trying to go on the internet have to be really truthful and sincere, because otherwise they're going to be dead. So I think we should welcome all the companies that are going to the internet, because it's a big stake for them. Thank you very much for your help. It was very interesting. Thank you very much. Goodbye to all.